Another way that you can evaluate your portfolio's performance would be to see how good you were at shifting between risky and risk-free assets based on movements in the market. So this is the idea, like when things are going really bad in a recession, you would want to put more of your money into risk-free assets. And when things start to turn around, you want to put more of your money back into the market to get that higher rate of return. So in its pure form, market timing just involves shifting between the market index and a risk-free safe asset. So here we have asset A or panel A. This exhibits no market timing. The beta of your portfolio is constant. Panel B, market timing, beta increases with expected market increases. And then panel C, market timing with only two values of beta. So with B, we're recognizing that the market is rapidly increasing and you're deciding to put more and more into your risky assets. Over in C, you realized that the market was increasing and shifted more towards the risky asset. So with B, it's continuous changes. With C, it's one realization of a move in the market and then a change. With A, no market timing, you just kept your regular portfolio going the way you expected to. Now, other things that we can do when we're evaluating our portfolio is say, where did we do good? Where did we make good choices? And where did we make bad choices? So the first way to do this is something called style analysis. The security market line uses only the market portfolio. With style analysis, we use a number of different market indices, which are kind of analogous to factor loadings that you would use in a multi-factor model. And your goal here is to explain the returns that you observe. So the way we would do this is regress a fund's return against the returns of a number of different passive index funds that represent various styles. Okay, so you would regress your fund's return against these various style portfolios. So T-bill, risk-free, small cap, mid cap, large cap, growth firms, which are high PE, medium PE, low PE, so growth versus value, and then this is the size. So this is the growth effect, the PE ratio effect, and then this is the size effect here. So what I would do is I would look at the returns of these portfolios, so the returns in the T-bill, and I would list all the returns on my T-bills for that same time period in which I'm comparing. So this is a series of additional independent variables against your dependent variable being your stock's return. So regress the fund's returns on the indices representing a large variety of classes. The regression coefficient for each index measures the fund's impact of that style. So what we see here, the highest regression coefficient, 61, comes in large cap. So that would tell me that a large part of my portfolio's return came from following the large cap idea. The R-squared measure measures the variability due to style or asset allocation. The remainder is due to security selection or market timing. So remember the R-squared tells you the percentage variation in your dependent variable explained by the regression. So this is saying with an R-squared of 97.5 that our different styles, our different style portfolio, did a really good job of explaining our portfolio's performance. So the higher the coefficient, that's saying that we didn't really use any small cap. We had some medium cap and some large cap, and we used a little bit of growth involved in there, but we didn't compare to any other any other styles in there. The next thing we could consider, similar to style analysis, is performance attribution. And the goal here is to explain differences in returns versus a benchmark, which they call a bogey portfolio. The bogey or benchmark portfolio is designed to measure the returns if the manager used a completely passive strategy. So it takes a usual class with passive index holdings in each of those classes. So the way we do this, common attribution system decomposes performance into three components: allocation choices across broad asset classes, across industry, and then selector choice within each industry. So what we want to try to do here is figure out what is that bogey portfolio and compare it to that. So let me show you an example. Contribution of the asset allocation to performance. Okay, so in this section, here's our allocation, the way we have things set up in our portfolio. That's in column 1. So that's actual weight in market. So what we're saying is that our portfolio is 70% equity, 7% fixed income, and 23% cash. Now, we want to compare our performance relative to a benchmark. So the closest benchmark that we can get is a benchmark that is weighted 60% in equity, 30% in fixed income, and 10% in cash. All right, so what we want to do is compare our contribution of asset allocation to performance. So I'm trying to see, did I do a good job by deciding to put more in equities versus my benchmark? Did I make the right decision by deciding to put less in fixed income than the benchmark? Did I make the right decision by deciding to put a lot more in cash than the benchmark? So I look at the active or excess weight in each category. So I put 70% in equity. The benchmark I'm comparing to put 60, so I overweighted by 10%. I put 7% in fixed income. The benchmark put 30, so I underweighted by 23%. And I put 23% in cash. The benchmark put 10% in cash, so I overweighted by 13%. Then I look at the market return in each of those different sections. So the market return on equity was 5.8, return on fixed income 1.45, and then the return on cash was 48. So my overall, 0.48%. So my overall contribution to performance, right? This is, contribution to asset allocation, I come up with a positive number. So it said, yeah, I actually did do something right? So I overweighted in equities by 10%. Equities returned 5.81%. So that attributed 0.5810 extra to my performance. I underweighted fixed income by 23%. That returned 1.45%. So that reduced my portfolio's overall return by 0.335%. I'm sorry, 33.5%. And then over here, same thing. I overweighted in cash by 13%. That returned 0.48%. So that contributed 6.24% to my portfolio. All right, so I come up with a positive number here. So asset allocation actually benefited me. So I allocated appropriately relative to the benchmark. I outperformed my benchmark. Now, if I want to come down here and look at total performance, my portfolio's performance, the index, excess weights, excess weight, and then contribution. All right, so my portfolio's performance, 7.28% from equities, 1.89% from fixed income. Market performance, 5.81% from equities, 1.45% from fixed income. My excess, excess performance, 1.74% from equities, overperformed by 0.44% from fixed income. And we're seeing over here these same two percentages here. So those are my portfolio weights. I multiply my excess or excess performance by the portfolio weight to get my contribution to selection within markets. So this is saying, did my selection of fixed income versus equity, how did that contribute to my overall performance? Versus up at the top, I was looking more at my asset allocation overall. Okay, so I have an example for you to practice with this.